February 14th, pretty normal day, woke up and then went to school. I actually had told the kids that day that we might be having a more severe drill soon because they were talking about code reds and code blacks. And so I said that to them, which, a lot of my kids later told me that because of what I told them earlier in the day, the whole time they were pretty, just moving like, oh, this is a drill, no big deal. Seconds afterwards, everybody's phone, including mine, started ringing. And for me, it was my brother, and he said, you have an active shooter at your school, are you okay? And then it was just really just a parade of funerals. Here we are over a month later, and we're just slowly, putting the pieces back together. It's hard to teach. It's hard to, get through an hour and a half class and do everything. I mean, it just kind of, we do what we can every day, and a lot of it is still talking about the shooting. A lot of it is still, remembering our friends.
I was actually in Foster's classroom.
Oh, you were?
When it happened, yeah.
When you called me, were you out of school?
I was at home. I ran home.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of my friends weren't answering when I was home. It's just an awful feeling.
And like Emma's phone was dead, so she wasn't answering either.
I saw Austin when I was running home, and I was like, what happened? And he's like, I don't know, just
ran.
Yeah, basically.
We were in plain sight, being by the window, so we went to the opposite end and hid where the door is right here, and there's a little nook type area where my teacher's desk is, so you can't see us from the window on the door, and that's where most of us hid. But when he came to our classroom, he shot through the window in our door, and he stuck his barrel in, and he was able at an angle to shoot 4 of my classmates.
So the first day, just kind of sat around and talked and said, welcome back. And I just kind of said, guys, here's the plan. Don't worry about your grades. Again, I teach AP classes. Don't worry about the AP test. We'll figure out that later. There's a different story to be told every day by a different student. And sometimes we just devolve into that conversation. And if they want to talk about it, let them talk about it. I'm mindful. I have one of the kids in class whose brother died. I have, another class where, one of the students died. It's unimaginable is the word we keep using. And so we all need to adjust and just say, listen, let's try to get these kids back in baby steps.
Because of these gun laws, people that I know, people that I love have died, and I will never be able to see them again.
They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS!
The people in the special interests that want to pass these gun laws to make it easier for these people to get guns are not going to stop it. We can't.
3 of the kids that I have that are pretty active, Delaney Tarr, David Hogg, and Emma Gonzalez. There have been many times this year where we've had Socratic discussions about big topics, and they're very outspoken on their side of the ledger. David especially, there's not a lecture that doesn't go by where David doesn't ask extra questions. Delaney is an amazing journalist. She's with the TV production team, and she's always dreamed of being an anchor. Emma, very outspoken, fun, boisterous. I have it in the syllabus of my class. If you don't participate, you can't complain. So I'd like to believe that the rest of the school, not only my class, realize that, that they can be heard.
We're set with the rooms, we're set with the buses. I'm actually on the other line on a conference call on finalizing logistics for the other stuff.
Okay. You can interview any of my kids that I've had for the last, 19 years at AP government, and I've always been pretty, outspoken about how I feel about things. I'm a card-carrying Republican that's upset with the law too. We're not supposed to talk about it in school, but I said, I'm kind of organizing the march, so I want you to know what's going on. We had a conversation in class the other day, and there was one kid, which is fine, that was against sort of the movement. And he said, what's the goal of the movement? I said, let me summarize it for you. We just want to make sure that there isn't another mass shooting in a school, at a concert, in a mall. And he's like, oh, okay. How hard is that to get behind?
Something that's really hard for me is songs that I've always liked singing now have totally different meaning.
Right.
I was listening to a Harry Styles song the other day, and I never listened to him, but it was his Sign of the Times thing, and it's we never learn, we've been here before, why are we always stuck in running from the bullet? And I was like, oh my God.
Right.
This is like perfect.
Right.
But at the same time, like, this is weird because I used to sing this song because I
And
like
not thinking about what the words were.
vocals.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
As students, you need to raise your voice, your tweets, your posts, your phone calls to our elected officials. You need to walk in the March of Our Lives on March 24th in Washington, D.C. and across the world. We're not going to take the same old response from our elected leaders and officials anymore, where they say, now is not the time.
Now, obviously, the first goal of any group, if you want to call us an interest group at this point, is to raise awareness, and then it's to turn that awareness into action. Will it translate into policy? I hope so, for their sake and for our sake and for America's sake. But if it doesn't, it's up to the electorate to hold those people accountable.
I feel like I'm gonna cry.
I know. There's still time for that,
No.
A lot of time for it. Should I just put the capital on my phone?
I mean, if you keep asking the way that you do.
A lot of them are thinking about going into politics now. I mean, I'm a Florida State alumni, and a lot of the kids who are thinking about going to different schools are like, I'm going to go to FSU now because that's the capital of Florida, and I can do government now. I'm like, well, it's a great freaking school, so yeah, definitely go there. But that's interesting to see that perspective, that a lot of these kids that didn't think poli-sci was in their radar now are thinking about becoming a lobbyist or becoming a politician or becoming, So it's awful again that it took this event for that to happen, but I can tell you personally, I would have liked to know what I was going to do at 17. I'm obviously very proud because I'm their teacher. I'm in awe to a degree because they're so young, but again, if it's like anything else, if that's what you're committed to, it's not that hard to learn 6, 7, 8 talking points and say, this is what we want. And we do a great job at our school of registering kids to vote. And I know that's going to be one of the main goals of the movement after, David was just on television today talking about that. Our goal is to get as many people to vote as possible. Now, that probably hurts me because I'm a Republican and most young people vote Democrats. But again, there's no reason that Republicans can't pass common sense gun laws as well. I have a 6 and 11-year-old daughter, and I don't want to say I fear for their lives every day, but I'd like for them to be able to go to school and not have to do shooter drills anymore, because it's a problem that doesn't exist in America anymore. And I hope that we're closer to that today than we were a month and a couple days ago.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.